National Signing Day is here. The 2020 class inking their commitments to the blue and gold, from Miami Central and Booker T to the Tampa Pipeline, from Jersey to Texas to the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. The next pack of Panthers is ready to go, a number already here on campus. We welcome you to FIU. It's a National Signing Day edition of Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis. Welcome into the pit. It's a pleasure to have you alongside us on this Wednesday morning here at FIU. I'm AJ Ricketts. That's the head coach, Butch Davis. Always one of the most exciting days of the year. We do it in December. We do it here in February. The next commitment of Panthers is about ready to go. And, Coach, between the segments you put in the early signing period, between the additions here that we'll talk about today, pretty nice recruiting class that's set to become FIU Panthers.
Yeah, AJ, obviously it's an exciting day, but it is the pipeline and the lifeblood of every football program. The signing day in December, obviously, which is new the last couple of years, we signed 15 players, and so we got the significant jump start on this recruiting class. Today we got 6 more signees, and so guys, and after you get into it, AJ, for the next couple of years, now you can cherry pick and you can go after high profile players because you know what you need on the team. You know the graduation rate. In 2017, 2018, we were trying to learn our players, who we inherited, what the talent level was, and now for the last 2 years, now you can go after guys and you say, you know what, this guy's going to be an absolutely impactful player at some point during his career.
Well, it's so fun to see how the recruiting cycles shape out year after year, and now heading into year 4 of your tenure here, you look at so many different skill position groups, or even the offensive, defensive lines. Coach, you've got depth built up in so many positions, and it's a whirlwind when you come down to the February signing day, and you had all the Super Bowl festivities and fun this year to deal with too on the side as that home stretch is wrapping up. But I mean, you've got depth at so many different position groups right now.
And AJ, that's one of the things. Obviously, when you inherited the team in 2017, not only did you not know the level of the talent of the players that you inherited, how much the depth. And we go back as a coaching staff and we look at 2017, 2018, and even a little bit last year, there were some areas with the football team where depth really impacted the football team.
Of course,
and we're going to talk about these offensive line guys that we signed, and 4 of them were mid-year enrollees, 2 of them are graduate junior college players, and 2 of them are high school players. But last year, one of the things that really impacted our football team was the depth in the offensive line. So that was a priority to go out and sign these 5 guys, 4 here, get a chance to go through the off-season conditioning program, go through spring practice, and then have the whole summer. So that was a major emphasis, going into the start of the recruiting for the 2021 class.
Hey, you also signed a pretty good offensive line coach.
Absolutely.
You got him in there too. All right, here's our game plan. Here's our strategy for today. First segment, we're going to go over the fall signees. Second segment, the spring signees, and then we'll talk to the assistant coaches and some players and early enrollees from there. Coach, sound good?
Sounds perfect.
All right, let's do it. Let's go dive straight into it, starting with one of our new quarterbacks, Hayden Carlson, coming from Lutz, Florida, that Tampa Pipeline. Son of a former NFL quarterback. He led Steinbrenner to a 12-2 record in the state semis, so he has that pedigree, has a great build. Really excited about Hayden Carlson.
Yeah, one of the things about him, he's got the athleticism to extend plays and be outside the pocket, but this is a guy that's got a pro arm. He can make throws all over the field. Obviously, you just talked about the fact that his dad played in the NFL for 7 years. We had him in camp. We got a chance to work with him and see him, and that really kind of starts to separate guys from who are going to be the recruits and who are going to be potential prospects, and obviously Hayden did a great job. He's an excellent leader, and the season that he had this year, at one time obviously they were completely undefeated, had a chance to get into the playoffs, and right there was what I'm talking about, is the mobility, because that's one of the things that you want with your quarterback. Can they extend plays either by design or on their own creativity?
Threw for over 2,500 yards and 30 touchdowns as a senior. He will be a terrific addition to the quarterback room, and it'll be a lot of fun to see how all those guys develop under center moving forward to the fall. All right, next up, 5'10", 185-pound running back Keyshawn Owens. Tell you what, you talk about Miami Central, Najee Davenport, Dalvin Cook here at FIU. We're very familiar with Central. Anthony Jones, Flex Joseph, he's the latest from that Miami Central pipeline.
Yeah, and Keyshawn, one of the things that you really like about him is the versatility. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, but he is explosive. You get this kid to the second level, he can score from any place on the field. He's got a lot of speed. One of the things, obviously, that you look at running backs is their ability ability to make people miss and then get to the second level. He's got great vision, because sometimes guys have tight eyes and they don't see holes. This kid, you hand him the ball, and here by design, you can see him bust through the line of scrimmage, get to the sidelines, and score. He's another kid that, they don't do it that much at Central, but one of the things that we like about him is that he's got good hands, because now all of a sudden he becomes a multi-threat, that he can be out of the backfield, because we've played 2 and 3 running backs, and a lot of times they play in the slot.
Absolutely.
And now it's different ways that you can get him a ball, so we're really excited about him.
And we talked about the former Central guys, Anthony Jones. He's a prime example of a running back who started to really realize a role outside of the backfield, use his hands as well, and get out to make plays as a wide receiver when time's called for it as well. All right, wide receiver, Teddy Richardson, 5'11", 185. You love guys who have the profile, helped lead Booker T to a state championship. Usually those guys are pretty successful. Teddy Richardson following his teammates DeAndre Williams and the Dames twins, who of course are Booker T products as well. And Richardson, he's got a lot of speed.
Yeah, and you can see he can blow by, he can catch the ball. He can help the quarterback by his ability to adjust. And you can see down here in the red zone now, all of a sudden, now he can get his toes in the end zone. I mean, those are things that a lot of times kids don't come out of high school from doing it. One of the things, AJ, that you just referenced, that you talked about Booker T. Washington being state champions that you like. One of the things, of the 21 kids that we signed, 19 of them were in the playoffs or junior college, either in a bowl or the national championship. So they're coming from winning programs. So they're bringing that philosophy of, like, this is what it's going to take to win.
Love bringing guys in that have a standard of success. And that's the case now, the culture here after 3 consecutive bowl games, looking to continue that moving forward. All right, Xavier McGriff, he connected with Aubrey Hill, the wide receivers coach, really early in the process. Really enjoyed his visit down here. He's a guy who received offers out of the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-12, including Ole Miss, South Carolina, Oregon, Florida State. He is a dynamic playmaker.
Yeah, very much so. And one of the things, obviously, we were a little bit spoiled early when we had Thomas Owens. We had that 6'1" type of guy that can create mismatches with corners and stuff because of his vertical ability to out-jump guys. And that was one of the things that we truly liked about him, is the fact that he's got size, he's got speed, he can catch, he's explosive, he can run away from people. And, we had 4 seniors receivers, and so getting receivers in this recruiting class was a very important aspect of recruiting. When you lose Maurice Alexander and Tony Gator, and you lose these guys, you got to have guys in the pipeline that's coming along, and it's good having both of those guys here, for this spring practice.
Loved his quote after he signed. He said he feels like 50-50 balls when they're thrown to him. He has an 80% chance of catching it. I like that math. I can get behind that math from Xavier McGriff. All right, let's talk about a tight end here, Coach. Rivaldo Fairweather, 6'4", 233 out of Boyd Anderson High School. 40 catches, 812 yards, 15 touchdowns as a senior. He can take over games out of the tight end position.
Well, one of the things that we've tried to do, because obviously Janu Smith was the tight end when I came here, and there was nobody else in the roster. We got Pharaoh McKeever. But over the last couple of years, we've tried to stack a bunch of good tight ends and H-backs. And obviously, this is a young man. You'll see him playing wide receiver, but this is a lot like the way Jeremy Shockey did, Kellen Winslow Jr. did, Eric Ebron, who's probably the #1 tight end in all of professional football. When I recruited him at North Carolina, he did the exact same things. There in the basketball court, you see the 360 slam dunk, which tells you he's got the vertical jump ability.
That's a tight end right there.
You think he's got a chance in the red zone? Get down there in the red zone and have some 5'9" DB. Yeah, maybe so. Me too.
It's going to be fun watching him.
Very excited about having him, and he's an excellent student. One thing that we like about this class, AJ, is the fact that all 21, when you combine their GPAs, their GPA is 3.1. And that makes them, they're going to be smart, they'll learn what to do, and it'll enhance how quickly they'll get a chance to play for our team.
All right, let's transition to the offensive line. Coach Rodriguez, certainly, there's some transition going in along the line, definitely has some returning pieces to work with, but he's got some incoming pieces to work with as well. So we got a couple guys to chat about now along the offensive line. Let's start with Miles Frazier, coming out of Camden, New Jersey, Milford Academy Prep, 3-star prospect, 6'5", 304. What do you like about Miles?
Well, Miles, I think one of the things, and I'm going to say this this a little bit about all of these guys. They're good athletes,
Yeah.
okay? I mean, they literally, the versatility that you don't have to say, well, he's only got one position. If he doesn't make it there, they could play at absolutely every one of them. Miles is a very good athlete. He's strong, he's powerful, and one of the things that I like about him is when you watch these tapes on these guys, they love to finish blocks, they love to dominate guys, and they want to truly try to pin guys on the ground and have pancake-type blocks and stuff, but they got the athleticism because you're gonna play against high-profile pass rushers, so you've got to be a good enough athlete that you can stop the penetration and protect the quarterback.
And he's a guy that's versatile as well. He played all 5 positions along the offensive line in high school. Love guys that are willing to get out of maybe a comfort zone along the offensive line. You talk about recruiting landscape and fertile recruiting regions. And obviously, South Florida, Texas, California, places like that stand out. But maybe place you don't think about as much are those Mississippi JUCOs, where a lot of gyms are found, and they'll go all across the country, especially the SEC. Well, we picked up a Mississippi JUCO guy here, Maljean George, 6'5", 318, a 3-star prospect. Look at that. He's a body.
Big body, and exactly that's what we're looking for. I mean, we're trying to raise the level of the things that we're going after, getting those guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", that we know that they're going to be able to play at 305 to 315 pounds. That they're dominant. They've got athleticism because we'd like to pull guards, we'd like to pull tackles, we pull our center some of the time, be able to get them on the perimeter. And obviously, when you watch the film, you just like the athleticism, and you like the way in which they compete, the way that they dominate guys, they put them on the ground, they get up, they continue to play.
A top 25 offensive tackle in JUCO last year, and he certainly was not just going through the motions. He led his JUCO to a national championship. So whether it's an incoming freshman from a high school or a JUCO transfer, standard of success, it's everywhere. So we go from Mississippi, now staying here in South Florida, grabbing a guy out of Homestead, South Dade High School. We've had some guys from there before. I think CJ Warden was a South Dade product, if I recall correctly. Don't want to mistake that, but CJ, a South Dade guy. Jose Mirabal, a South Dade High School guy as well. And again, this is a constant theme here. It's not just 1 or 2 recruits. Guys that had interest from the SEC, from the ACC, Power 5 programs. Jose was offered by Florida State, Georgia, Ole Miss, some big-time programs. He's coming to FIU.
AJ, one of the things that you got to love about him is the fact that I think almost every camp and every day, junior days, he always came in. And you got to know this kid is passionate about football. He wants to be good. And, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful. And all these guys, they are going to benefit enormously with Andrew Swayze, the new director of strength and conditioning. They're going to continue to build those guys. But you knew that every time that the gates were open and we invited high school kids to come, Jose was there. And he had to walk me through the home visit a little bit because of my Spanish is just poquito. It's just a little bit. So he had to help me translate. But, great family. Awesome to have as part of this program.
Yeah, excited to have you. You love seeing guys that have he's already familiar with this place. He's always at the front gate, ready to work.
Ready to go.
All right, so another offensive guy from Fort Lauderdale. You're probably familiar with this program. I think they've churned out more NFL players than anybody else, if I'm correct about that again. St. Thomas Aquinas. You love getting guys from that program. Jamari Sylvester is the latest from Aquinas to take his talent to FIU, 3-star prospect. Plenty of Power 5 offers as well. One of the best players in Broward County last season along the line.
And again, you just referenced the fact St. Thomas, they went to Las Vegas to play for the national championship. And so he comes from a program where there's a high expectation for performance. He's big, he's strong, a little bit like Jose, that he came to camps, he came and visited practices and watched. And again, one of the things, and I love it about all 5 of these guys that we're going to talk about, and he's the only one of the 5, AJ, that is not here for the second semester, but he'll be here this summer for summer school and stuff. But the versatility, I love the fact that you recruit kids that he could be a right tackle, be a left tackle, be a guard, could be inside. A couple of those guys, they could be centers. And that gives you unbelievable versatility, and it gives them opportunities to become the best player they can at whatever position it unfolds.
Don't you love having linemen here for the second semester? Just get started with their weight program, whether they need to gain a couple dozen or lose, whatever you want to do, and they're going to get started with Coach Swayze, and that's pretty exciting stuff.
Very much so.
As Coach Swayze joins or takes over the lead head and strength conditioning coach here at FIU. All right, continuing along the O-line, our last O-lineman we're going to chat about here, Cameron Williams out of Trinity Valley Community College. Again, you're building depth along the line. He adds to that.
Yeah, well, he's the second player from the the state of Texas that we've signed the last 2 years. Last year, Sione Finau, that came from the Dallas area. He's coming from the Houston area, and it's an area where when you're looking for big guys, you're looking for offensive linemen, potentially sometimes maybe defensive linemen. There's some depth there in those places. And obviously, as a junior college player, we needed some older, more experienced veteran guys. These guys have come in, they played 2 years of junior college football, so they've got a chance to come in and make an impactful during the spring practice, to help build the depth and help competition for playing time for next year. So we're really excited about having them.
From the state of Texas, you mentioned Sione. He played quite the role in his true
he
freshman
actually ended
campaign.
up, and a lot of people don't realize, as a true freshman, he probably didn't start playing until maybe like game 5 or 6. He ended up being selected first team, all conference freshman team, and he only played like the second half of the season. I mean, he's got a good future in front of him.
All right, our defensive lineman here coming out of Monsignor Pace High School. We got Shaquem Gloucester, 6'4", 220. Along the defensive line, but he played 3 sports: football, basketball, track. Those are the type of athletes you love to bring into your program.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and one of the things, when you start looking at defensive linemen, there's one thing that is a make or break, and that's explosiveness. Do they have first step? And you watch this video tape of him, and he's got to grow some, okay? But what you see is a guy, that very first step explosion, he can eat up the offensive line guy and get to the second level into the quarterback. He's a 6'4" and a quarter guy. Like you said, he's playing basketball, so he's not gaining a lot of weight right now. He might be 215, 220. He gets in that strength and conditioning program. He'll be 230, 245 probably by the middle of the freshman year. So we're excited about getting him. He's got speed, he's got athleticism, and it's one of the things, obviously, because we've got several seniors on the football team for next year. The Noah Curtises and the Kevin Olivers and some of those guys. So this freshman, bringing him in, gives us a chance to really have somebody in the wing.
Because you're not just looking out for the depth of next year. You're playing in 2 years down the road, and can they get that year of experience under some savvy veterans and some accomplished veterans as well? And they're going to get that opportunity.
Here's one of the things, AJ, and I've said this every time I've been a head coach. If you're a freshman and you can come in and you make a difference and you can help us win games, you're playing. Okay? That red shirt rule and all that stuff, and especially now that
you don't have to red shirt.
You don't have to red shirt. So guys like this, that if they can come in and find a role maybe on special teams, or they can find a role maybe in a nickel package. You say for every third down, if this is a guy that can get 10 or 12 sacks, let's get him in the game.
And the fans love it too. We love to see the guys right away. Sometimes we don't want to see that red shirt. Oh, what can they bring right now? Like, where's the red shirt? Always has great benefits too. But always good to see guys play when they get into the program. Bobby Washington, all right, another guy out of St. Thomas Aquinas, 5'11", 290. What do you like about his skill set?
Watch the film, and here's one of the things about interior defensive linemen. Are they disruptive? Can they get penetration, and can they blow up blocking schemes? And when you take a look at his ability to penetrate, to get into the backfield, to blow up, whether it's trap schemes, guards are pulling and putting pressure on the running game, and you can see him here, all the different kinds of things that he can do. When you watched him in practice and you watched him in games over the last 2 years, that was probably the single number one most important thing. But here you can see him again, getting the depth, getting across the line of scrimmage, and he's got that kind of ability.
He's caused problems in all 4 of his years at St. Thomas Aquinas, and they're playing great schedule year in and year out. Really, wherever you go in South Florida, you've got athletes you're going up against on the O-line.
You just nailed it, and this is the truth. The state of Florida, I mean, these kids, they're used to playing competition because there's a lot of schools that go 4 and 6, but they're really good football teams, and they got good players.
That doesn't disqualify you from having an opportunity at the next level. Tamarick Best, he's a linebacker, 6'1", 225 out of Pahokee, which that's a city, that's a territory that turns out NFL players. He played along the defensive line as well. Whatever his role is here at FIU, he's certainly been willing at the high school level, one of the best players out of Pahokee moving forward.
He was the first player to commit to us. A year and a half ago, he said, I want to come to FIU. We recruited him as a linebacker, and that's where he's going to be. I mean, he's a 6'1 and a half, 6'1 and 3/4. He's probably going to be a 225. At Pahokee at times, because of the depth of their football team, they actually had to play him in the defensive line, but that's not really where he's going to be. You can see in all the video and stuff like this, we're going to start him off as a middle linebacker because he's a big, strong, physical guy. They blitzed him a lot, and that's why when they put him as a 3 technique or played him as an outside linebacker, he could put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. the history of the Pahokee program, they have just absolutely had unbelievable number of great athletes come out of that program that have gone on to college and had great success, and Tamarcus is going to be one of those guys.
Coach, he was one of your best recruiters, too. He committed early in the process. You look at his Twitter feed, FIU content, down. He was getting after guys.
And that's what you want. I mean, even the young guys that are here now, I mean, those guys that enrolled now at mid-year, they helped with these guys that we just signed today, reaching out and calling those guys. Hayden Carlson did the same thing. I mean, a lot of these guys reached out to recruits, and they become some of your best recruiters.
Andrew Volmar, let's move forward, 6'1", 170 out of American Heritage High School, dual sport athlete as well, basketball, football, dual sport athlete, 3-star recruit, a top 200 defensive back from 24/7. He has Power 5 offers as well. I like the way that turnover belt looks on him.
Exactly. Well, one of the things that you'll see about our defensive backs, the 3 kids that we have signed, is length. Okay, we learned a good lesson over the last couple of years with Stanley Thomas and Ike Brown that having those 6'1", 6'1.5", 6'2" guys that have got long arms, now they can win. They can jam and reroute at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. When the ball gets thrown down the field and it gets into high jump balls and stuff, you got somebody like that that can do that. I mean, and he is versatile. I mean, you can see him. You can see how he covers. You can see that he's physical, that he'll actually tackle, and then his ability to play on special teams. I mean, he's going to be a really excellent addition to this team.
Rutgers and Temple, a couple programs that also gave him offers as well. All right, finishing things off from the fall signees. We'll take a break and come back with our spring guys. But our final one on the special teams side of things, Chase Gabriel. We saw how much a good kicker can help you throughout the course of a season this past year. Chase Gabriel, he made some pretty clutch kicks as well when it counted. Had a couple of 50-plus yarders in the state championships. Glad to have him here at FIU.
He's perfect on extra points, which obviously you'd love for your kicker to always be perfect on that. He was 15 of 18 on his field goals, but a lot of times you want to find out how do they react when the pressure is on. And here you see like a 52-yard field goal in the playoffs. He had multiple kickoffs or multiple field goals of over 50 yards. I mean, he's got a strong leg. His touchbacks, when kicked off and stuff like that, was like 94% were unreturnable, which is a great thing from a defensive perspective. You know they're never going to get a lot of great returns.
Started at 25,
So it was very good. He's a very good athlete. We don't put any video on here, but he also was the punter. So you like the idea that your kicker, if anything ever happens, could he be the backup punter when you're traveling and you're limited the number of players that you can actually take on road trips. But here you can see another 45-yarder that he's making it with 5 or 6 extra yards. So we're very excited about getting him into the program.
I think he also scored a touchdown on a trick play during the state playoffs. So perhaps he has the Stone Wilson gene in him as we move forward.
No kidding.
To be determined, but it looks good thus far. So does this recruiting class. When we come back, we'll take a look at the 6 spring signees that we've added to this 2020 recruiting class. You're watching the National Signing Day edition of Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis. Back after this.
We're a university founded on the side of an airport, reaching new heights. It's in our DNA. And since then, we've dedicated ourselves to solving the big problems facing our community and the world. We believe that crazy startup idea isn't so crazy, that families without health care shouldn't have to go it alone. We believe we can be better prepared for the next hurricane, and that our coral reefs can be saved. And that's because, above all else, we believe in you.
The excitement of Division I college basketball in the month of March is returning to Ford Center and the Star in Frisco, Texas. Get your tickets now for the 2020 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center. 22 basketball games over 4 days in one location, March 11th through March 14th. For tickets, visit your Conference USA team box office or go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star.
For 25 years, Conference USA student-athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student-athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
Well, Panther Talk Live is brought to you by the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps wins our nation's battles. Marine Corps officers prove their footsteps are worth following, leading Marines to victory through every battle. If you're interested in becoming a Marine Corps officer, follow at SFL_Marine Officer on Instagram today. Well, pleasure to have you alongside us. It's National Signing Day. Always a lot of fun to talk about the future of your program. No exception here. I'm AJ Ricketts alongside Butch Davis. All right, Coach. December comes, we have our early signing day period. You celebrate that, you play your bowl game, you decompress for a little bit, and then you're right back to it, trying to finalize the official February signing day. What were you looking for? What were you trying to add as you rounded out this class?
Again, I mean, obviously, we talked about as a staff after the early signing day, the guys that we've signed here.
Yeah.
Most of them we already knew about, but some of them we had no clue. We didn't know, and we said, you know what? Let's go and turn over every rock and find out guys that are difference makers. Doesn't matter what state they're in, state of Florida, state of Georgia, state of Mississippi. Let's go look for players that could be an impactful players, good character, excellent athletic ability. So when we did that, we kind of targeted some guys, and obviously these 6 guys that we're going to sign, we will not use all of our scholarships right now.
Okay.
You got to save some bullets for later on in the spring.
Yeah.
You may find a guy. Miami didn't find Ray Lewis until June. Now, there's a lot of guys that I've had historically that you don't uncover until maybe April or May or June. So you got to make sure you got a scholarship for those guys. But these 6 guys were guys that we really truly felt like, you know what? They can help us immediately. These are guys that can come in, they can help on special teams, they can help with the depth, they can do a lot of different kinds of things. So we were super excited about signing these guys.
Yeah, you just look at their profiles and athletes, and these numbers scream athletes, whether it's their stats or their build. Let's start in the backfield. Eric Wilson Jr. Out of Armwood High School, and he led them to tremendous amounts of success this past fall. I know you're thrilled about him. He's a 3-star prospect, a top 70 running back nationwide, nearly 300 yards receiving as well, and he can do things in the backfield that are very successful.
Again, I mean, we're really truly, I mean, historically, my recruiting running backs are guys that are, they're not just one-dimensional, not just a guy that can run but can't catch. They need to be able to run the ball. He had over 2,500 yards in his last 2 seasons, and obviously you can see, I mean, he runs inside zone, outside zone. He can run toss sweeps. He's got speed, and he can catch the ball. And so obviously anytime you can find somebody that's an impactful player, then, and with the receivers and some of the DBs and they could be the guys of the heir apparent to punt returns, kickoff returns, give them opportunities to make a contribution during their freshman year. He's big and he's strong, and so, we're very, very excited. Tim Harris did a great job, when we brought him in for his official visit and convinced him that this would be a great place for him.
Really excited about that running back room in the fall. Tim's going to have a good time there. Just so many weapons to work with moving forward. Eric Wilson Jr. will certainly be one of the top players out of Tampa this past season. Ever heard of Gaither High School? We certainly have at FIU. We've got another coming from Gaither. Alex Magoo, Shane Magoo certainly stand out from that pipeline. Chance Coleman is going to be the latest on the defensive side of the football. 6'2", 205 pounds. Coach, I don't mean to age you, but you almost coached his father with the Browns. You were a year away from that, but you're definitely going to get to coach his son, who's a pretty good player in his own right.
Yeah, his father spent 7 years in the NFL as an offensive lineman. He joined the Cleveland Browns in 2005 after I left, and his son is very, very athletic, okay? I mean, this is a kid, and again, defensively, when you're looking for linebackers, you're looking for safeties and those kinds of things, in today's football, you got to be able to play in space. And when you take a look at him, first he's fast, he flies to the football. I mean, you can see him here playing inside as a linebacker, what we would probably call like a will linebacker.
Yeah.
The notoriety of being able to get over there, he also was a running back. I mean, this was a kid that was an outstanding running back. This is kind of going back to the Dan Morgan and the guys, some of the linebackers, DJ Williams that I had at the University of Miami, they played running back and linebacker, and then you just found out that, you know what, linebackers, if they can read where the ball's going, because they were a running back, they're going to make a lot of plays.
Yeah, nearly 700 yards on the ground, 9 touchdowns as a running back. So you love those guys. Kind of like a defensive back who play wide receiver. Guys that play both sides of the football.
We talk about it all the time. I mean, obviously in high school, a lot of coaches don't have the depth where they can play all different offense and defense, and sometimes they got to use their best players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And obviously he is one of those kinds of guys. But you'd be shocked at how many of these 21 guys played other sports. You know, they ran track, they play baseball, they play basketball. We already talked about Rivaldo, and you saw him doing the 360.
Yeah.
I mean, I love kids that play other sports because, in my opinion, they love to compete. I want to go out there and I want to win a baseball game. I want to win a track meet. I want to win a wrestling match. So kids that are multi-sport, they get an awful lot of attention from me.
They just want to be on the field, want to be playing a sport,
No
be a
kidding.
three-sport athlete, be a both sides of the football. The more playing time, the better at that
Absolutely.
point. No, don't have to specialize yet. Well, just put me on the field, Coach. Have no problem with that. A.J. Mathis is our next guy out of Largo, Florida. Largo High School, 6'2", 200, three-star prospect, earned nearly 90 tackles as a junior, over 100 tackles as a senior. And I know fans love this. Look, you look at the places he received offers from, and you love how he moved for Auburn, Florida, Florida State. He's coming to FIU.
Yeah. One of the things, when you take a look at linebackers, and you can tell how do they play in space, okay? I mean, here's a scramble, quarterback plastered the receiver, carried him to the sidelines. The other thing is that you look at guys, their ability, can they play behind the line of scrimmage? Can they put blitz pressure on the quarterback? And you can see a variety of all of those kinds of things. Sometimes, AJ, sometimes there's guys on defense that the only way they ever make a play is the coach makes a call that puts them on the play. The guys that are elite and better, they're the ones that by instinct. They sit there, they read, they know. They didn't blitz them to make the play. They just figured out their blocking schemes, and they went and fired, and they made plays in the backfield. And so, obviously, we're very excited to about getting him into the program. He's got speed. You know, and again, like we talked about, you'll see him, if you went through all the games, you'll see him play in space because, again, 10, 11 personnel, there are going to be 3 or 4 wide receivers in the game. Can they play in space? And if they can, they're going to be a really good player.
That's always invaluable to come into that program, and you know they've got those instincts. You don't have to teach different things like that. You know they're not coming out of a structured program where all their success was due to a scheme. You know, this guy's got instincts.
And I'm going to tell you something, AJ. I'm going to give a chance to a little bit kind of brag on Sage Lewis. Okay, Sage played will linebacker for 2 years. The last 2 years he played Mike linebacker. He went to an all-star game and was the MVP of that game with all the other 60 players that was there. And one of the things that those scouts and people have feedback about Sage is that he can do all of those things we just talked about. He can fly into the field, he can play sideline to sideline, and he can cover because he's got the speed for backs out of the backfield. So that's the kind of kids that you're trying to recruit.
I mean, we've had some outstanding linebackers here on this team since you joined the program, and between Trayvon, Anthony Wynn, Sage Lewis, and some tough guys to replace, but certainly looks like the pedigree is there, the foundation, as we move forward into year 4 under this guy. All right, Joe Perkins, a safety, a defensive back, really, I should say, out of Madison, Mississippi, 6'1", 196, 3-star prospect, top 125 safety, has some experience on the U.S. national football team, great on special teams as well. What stands out about Joe Perkins to you?
Well, when you watch the film of him, obviously, again, this is a kid that can cover, okay? This is a kid that will hit, okay? Because obviously the safety position, you know, you got to be somebody that can, you know, in some respects, you got to coordinate the back end and the safeties, checking coverages. He is super smart, had unbelievable GPA. His character, his integrity, and he is one of the young guys, AJ, that Jared Cruzy and Bryn Renner, our secondary coaches, they kind of uncovered this guy and found him in the month of January. We brought him in on his official visit. His parents absolutely fell in love with the campus, the academic aspect of it, because he's a super smart kid. And you just see everything that we do defensively, you know, he's got the ability to do it.
Well, I think that's an interesting point you make in terms of uncovering recruits because, you know, I think it's a fair question to ask. You know, FIU, you're in Miami, you certainly recruit the state of Florida well, and you go outside the state as well. But this is a guy, a defensive back from Madison, Mississippi. How do you go about finding guys like this that you can add to your program?
Contacts. People that you know, people in junior college. I mean, to be honest with you, we were talking about junior college players. Junior college
he's
guys.
not a JUCO out of Mississippi.
He's not. And there's like, how did you find this guy? They thought they were going to get him because he was flying under the radar and stuff. So anyhow, you know, our coaches do a great job of researching and calling different states and trying to find guys. And when you get them on campus, you got a chance to get them.
Okay, you're not just game prepping for your next week's opponents and finding out little things you can take advantage of. You're going to Madison, Mississippi to find guys that can make a difference for your program. It's a year-round thing, and coming down to the finish line, it's been great to see the athletes we're adding to this program. Jamal Potts, another a little closer to home, another American Heritage guy, says Deion Sanders, his favorite player growing up. Credited Coach Jamal Potts with allowing just 6 catches in coverage his senior season. That's outstanding.
One of the cool things about Jamal, I'm going to rat him out today.
Okay.
He actually signed in December, okay? But he asked us to keep it quiet because his family had family from up north, grandparents and stuff that wanted to come down for this signing day. And again, we are super happy to get him. I mean, but he's like the Stanley Thomases. He's a tall, lanky kid, got unbelievable transition in and out of breaks. And again, Will secondary guys, he plays multiple things, plays on the offense, plays on defense, but can they cover? Will they tackle? And if they can do those kinds of things, and do they love football? Are they smart about it? Are they aggressive? Then you know that you're going to find ways for them to help early in their career.
Yeah, you look at the profile of those 2 defensive backs we just talked about. Joe Perkins, 6'1", 196. Jamal Potts, 6'2", 185. That's some good length on the outside.
Yep.
When you're trying
and
to
speed.
And speed, yeah.
Speed.
Absolutely, and that's your priority.
Yeah.
Getting guys with speed at every position. All right, our final spring signee here, Jacorian Davis Hamilton, out of Apopka High School, 3-star prospect, was ranked as the top 10 player from the Orlando Sentinel. He's a guy, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Canes, Ohio State, they all wanted to have this guy on their roster. Jacorian Davis Hamilton, 6'1", 194.
Now, when you watch his kid's film, I mean, obviously, Jacorian, you'll see him play running back, you're going to see him play wide receiver, you're going to see him play corner, you're going to see him play safety. And here's the thing that I loved about him, okay? When you recruit somebody, and I'll go back to, to other guys that I've recruited, maybe even guys like Ed Reed that played played quarterback, wide receiver, played safety. When a kid tells you, Coach, I want to help us win, I'll play whatever position that you want me to play at, okay? And he's going to trust us to find what's the best of these, because potentially he could be a good wide receiver, he could be a good corner, good safety.
Yeah.
What's going to give him a chance to be the best that he could be, to get, like all these guys' dreams, how can I get to the NFL, how can I get to the next level? And obviously, he's from Apopka, okay, but his senior year in high school, he actually played in Georgia and played in Atlanta. But you can see, I mean, this is a kid, he's got instincts running with the football. He's got the ability, when you see him as a wide receiver, he can blow by corners, and then on defense, I mean, he's really good. The other thing that he does really well is excellent returner. Punt returns, kickoff returns. I mean, could be a guy that obviously could help this football team immediately at some of those positions.
We saw the impact a guy like Hartime, Maurice Alexander had with the program, maybe the next in line to take that role. And before we head to break, that's an interesting point you made about Jacorian, saying, look, I'm willing to play whatever position, put me where I can help the team succeed. You got guys knocking down the door of your camps who just want to be a part of the program. You have guys, recruits, that have shown a willingness to go further, to do extra of what is asked. A lot of high character guys.
You know what, and AJ, historically, and I'm going to tell you a variety of different places and stuff like that, but when I recruited Sean Taylor from Gulliver High School, okay, in the state championship game, I think he had 5 touchdowns rushing, okay? In the playoffs, he had a couple of returns for touchdowns, he had interceptions and sacks, and Sean was very much similar in what he said. You put me where you think. I mean, a guy that scored 5 touchdowns, you'd think he'd want to be the tailback. I want to be the run back, so I would want to win the Heisman Trophy. And it's like, you know what? We want you to play in the secondary with Ed Reed and those guys, and you're going to become one of the greatest safeties, maybe collegiately, and obviously the Washington Redskins had he not unfortunately lost his life. But, I mean, when you get kids that, Coach, I don't care. I just want to win. Put me where I can help us win, and I'll play there, and that'll make me the best player. You love those guys.
And you mentioned a great precedent there. Another one here at FIU, Stanley Thomas Oliver, who was an all-freshman wide receiver, eventually made the transition. Pretty good cornerback as well.
How about this? This is how good his career. Obviously, he made an unbelievable impression upon the NFL scouts. They put him in the East-West All-Star game with James Morgan. He also got an invitation to the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. And here's a kid that was a wide receiver, And
wasn't seeing a lot of time.
Moves over the corner, and now all of a sudden he skyrocketed to the top.
Well, we're proud of him, along with all those guys who graduated who are doing great things right now, including James. A number of players. We'll go over it, but doing some pretty impressive things in the lead up to the NFL draft. All right, for right now, that concludes our discussion of the fall and spring signees with Coach Davis. He'll be back in just a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk with Coach Skrosky. We're going to talk with Coach Kopp. We're going to talk with McCarthy, Swayze, more players. Stay with us. We're just getting started on Panther Talk Live. Back after this.
We're a university founded on the side of an airport, reaching new heights. It's in our DNA. And since then, we've dedicated ourselves to solving the big problems facing our community and the world. We believe that crazy startup idea isn't so crazy, that families without health care shouldn't have to go it alone. We believe we can be better prepared for the next hurricane, and that our coral reefs can be saved. And that's because, above all else, we believe in you.
The excitement of Division I college basketball in the month of March is returning to Ford Center and the Star in Frisco, Texas. Get your tickets now for the 2020 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center. 22 basketball games over 4 days in one location, March 11th through March 14th. For tickets, visit your Conference USA team box office or go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
And we welcome you back to the GC. Good crowd on hand here as we celebrate National Signing Day. The next crop of Panthers who have taken their talents here to Miami. Appreciate you joining us on your favorite Facebook Live streaming link alongside Coach Rich Skrosky now. AJ Ricketts, glad to have you with us once more. All right, Coach, I envy you, man. You've got some weapons to work with here this upcoming season, all across the board. But I'll start off here open-ended for you. You know, what stands out when you look at this newest crop of freshmen and how you can implement them?
Well, I think Coach Davis hit it. You know, the program's gotten to the point now where, you know, our numbers are in pretty good space. So it wasn't like we need 5 receivers. You know, it's pretty well balanced. So it's a pretty balanced class. I think getting the nice thing on offense that worked out for us, and it wasn't by any calculation, but most of the offensive guys we signed in the early date back in December. And that, you know, it does. It alleviates some of that stress time for today. And then the other thing is the early arrivals on campus. So on offense, we were able, we have 4 offensive linemen that are, you know, with us already in the spring semester, which I think you're going to hear from them later on today, and then the couple wide receivers. So getting that early jump, I think, in the spring semester, getting them acclimated, getting them in spring practice, it's definitely going to help in training camp moving forward.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys here in this class are early enrollees. How beneficial is that? I just want to expand upon, because, look, it wasn't that long ago, you know, your lead play caller, you know, James Morgan, he wasn't able to make his way here until the summer. Not any fault of his. He had to finish things up at BG. But to have so many guys here in the spring, I know that's very advantageous. It's got to be.
Yeah, nationwide, it's become, I don't know if it's becoming the norm, but it's definitely not the exception anymore. And I think with the offensive line in particular, and as we know, right, we got 2, you know, junior college guys and then 2 high school guys. And I think the offensive line, maybe outside of quarterback, might be the toughest acclimatization into a college program. Now, the junior college guys are a little different, a little bit more mature, but being able to get here, going through the winter workouts, which we're doing right now with Coach Swayze, and then obviously having spring practice. And it's not just the football part of it. It's everything else that goes along with being a college football player. Yeah. So it is a huge advantage when those guys get through the summer and ready for training camp. They're so far ahead. They're quite ahead of where, you know, the freshmen will be.
You know, they're ready to get going. They're willing to skip their senior prom to start playing football, Coach. I mean, that's dedication. Hey, I want to ask you about the quarterbacks. And so you rewind here the past 3 years, and we've been really lucky to have a couple pretty solid QB12s under center for us. And Alex Magoo, you had him for a year, and of course, James Morgan the last couple of years. So whatever the quarterback situation winds up being this year, whoever's starting under center, what characteristics, what qualities are you looking for out of that quarterback that might resemble or be similar to what you've had the past 3 years out of Alex and James?
Well, Alex and James were different, and I think the guys we have in the program now are different. And Hayden Carlson, who we signed in this class, he's going to have his own attributes. So the first thing is you got to be able to play to the strengths of their talents. You know, with Hayden specifically, you know, I say this all the times, and I think it's not just the quarterback position. I say this in recruiting. There's probably 500 kids in the country that throw the ball good enough to play at FIU. There's probably only 30 that I really feel could play quarterback because those intangible traits, and it's one of the things I love about Hayden. He shows leadership, he shows toughness, he's a competitive kid, he likes the football part of it, and that's one thing that James and Alex shared in different ways. You know, loving to watch film, loving to go out with your receivers and do nuanced routes, loving to get on the board, and I think Hayden's in that same category. So I think the intangibles at all these positions, maybe more so at quarterback, but the mental makeup of that position, the competitiveness of that position, that I am going to succeed no matter what the circumstances are. And as you said, we've had, you know, two great ones that I'll always be indebted to in Alex and James, and, you know, hopefully moving forward we'll get another one.
Well, you talk about the intangibles as we wrap up this. You know, James was asked, I forget what game, I forget what press conference, but it was wrapping up, things were getting out ahead, and someone asked, James, what do you do in your spare time, man? What do you do to hang out? He said, I go to the film room and watch film. And that's music to your ears.
It is. He is the epitome of being a football geek. And
football guy,
you know,
right?
you love him for it. But honestly, it's a great lesson for our younger guys now in the preparation and the work ethic that James had. And he set the bar very high, but James would not be in the position he's in today had he not had that kind of attitude.
He set the bar high in your offense, has set some records in your time here. Looking forward to what it can do in the fall with all these pieces. That. Coach, appreciate the time.
Thanks, AJ.
All right, we'll talk to Coach Comp when we come back. Stay with us. Loaded show of Panther Talk Live.
We're a university founded on the side of an airport, reaching new heights. It's in our DNA. And since then, we've dedicated ourselves to solving the big problems facing our community and the world. We believe that crazy startup idea isn't so crazy, that families without health care shouldn't have to go it alone. We believe we can be better prepared for the next hurricane, and that our coral reefs can be saved. And that's because, above all else, we believe in you.
The excitement of Division I college basketball in the month of March is returning to Ford Center and the Star in Frisco, Texas. Get your tickets now for the 2020 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center. 22 basketball games over 4 days in one location, March 11th through March 14th. For tickets, visit your Conference USA team box office or go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
Conference USA Tournament commercial. Big game tonight for the Hoop Squad. FAU, got my pen, FIU playing tonight. Expected sellout here at the Ocean Bay Convocation Center. You can catch that on ESPN+. Right now, celebrating National Signing Day, I'm AJ Ricketts alongside our defensive coordinator, Jeff Kopp. And Coach, like I asked Rich, terrific recruiting class. Sure. All sides of the football, different positions. What stands out to you when you look at who you've signed here?
Just the quality of player that we got on the defensive side of the football. We think we signed 2 great defensive linemen. The depth at linebacker is huge for us. Yeah. And then just the overall athleticism in the secondary is going to be big.
It's not easy to replace Trayvon Williams, Anthony Wentz.
Sure.
It's not easy to replace Sage Lewis.
Yeah.
They were good football players, but have some good guys coming in as well. You look at the 2 linebackers we signed in the spring, or
yep.
today I should say, Chance Coleman, AJ Mathis. What gives you hope that they can be just as successful?
Just their versatility that you see them play with. Chance obviously was played both sides of the football for them. Ran the football for him and played linebacker. He's got a great pedigree with his dad, Cozy Coleman, who played for Coach Davis at the Cleveland Browns. And then A.J. Mathis is a kid that was very highly rated in high school. We feel very fortunate to get him. Unbelievable athleticism, has a nose for the football.
Let's transition to the defensive line.
Sure.
You had Shaquem along there, but there's some good pieces coming back along the D-line as well. He's going to have plenty of guys to learn from if he's not playing already himself. What do you like about the D-line right now? In the bowl game, I know Kane Taylor certainly stood out, but then you've got plenty of veterans and returners as well. What stands out to you there?
Well, just the overall depth at it. We didn't graduate a ton of guys. Obviously, losing Tierra is going to be big, but getting those guys coming back that have some experience and have a chance to continue to develop in our program, and just the overall depth of the position is huge.
All right, last thing here along the outside. Hey, one of my favorite players to watch on the defensive side of football the last couple of years, Stanley Thomas Oliver.
Yeah.
And I still go back to that Western Kentucky game on the road where he single-handedly kept the Hilltoppers out of the end zone. He was so much fun to watch. So you look at some DBs coming in, Joe Perkins, Jamal Potts, 6'1", 6'2", 196, 185 respectively. What do you like about that?
The athleticism of this class in the defensive backfield. Our 2 secondary coaches, Coach Cruzy and Coach Renner, did an unbelievable job of finding these guys. Andrew Vollmer from American Heritage was an elite level basketball player that, I love basketball players in the secondary. Those guys know how to cover people and move their feet. And just the length. Joe is a huge addition to our class. We got on him a little late in the process, and we're very excited to have him in the class.
Well, we're really excited for the fall. And even what's coming up in the spring. We got spring ball, we got pro day, the spring game all coming up pretty soon. I know you're excited to start working with these guys.
Yep, excited.
All right, looking forward to it, Jeff. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
More after this. Be back in a minute and a half.
Mental health affects us all, whether you finish first or last.
Whether you win or lose.
The stigma around these issues causes those around us to suffer in silence.
Mental health is nothing to be ashamed of.
You are not alone.
You are not alone. As a student athlete,
As a teammate,
As a friend.
We pledge to continue the conversation.
because it matters.
because you matter.
Stand up to the stigma.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Continue the conversation.
You are not alone.
The excitement of Division I college basketball in the month of March is returning to Ford Center and the Star in Frisco, Texas. Get your tickets now for the 2020 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center. 22 basketball games over 4 days in one location, March 11th through March 14th. For tickets, visit your Conference USA team box office or go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
alongside us here on Panther Talk Live as we celebrate National Signing Day here at the GC Pit on Facebook Live. AJ Ricketts, their special teams coach DJ McCarthy from Palm Beach to the Panther family. Glad to have you here, at FIU. Coach, how's the transition been going for you thus far? It's glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. You go from the 5.61 to the 3.05 down here. Now I can throw it up.
You can throw it. Yeah, you've already got it down.
Exactly,
you've got it down. I see.
Well, I grew up, being a Miami fan, growing up with Coach Davis and Erickson, those guys back in the day. But getting a chance to be down here, trying to acclimate myself here, and getting my family down here soon. So we're excited.
Love the pedigree you bring, the success you have. A quick look at your bio, if you take a look at it, it reveals that really quickly, whether it's winning a championship in Washington or coaching at LSU and the time you had there, coaching, recruiting. What stands out in terms of your background, the success you've had that you want to transition here and bring to FIU in terms of winning cultures, winning programs?
Well, my statement is always about championship mindset.
Yeah.
You put in your mind that you want to be a champion. You're going to work to be a champion. You're going to grind to be a champion. And as long as you have the mindset that way, the body will follow. We got great leadership here, from the president to the AD to the head coach. I mean, it's been proven, 3 bowl games in a row. And we're just going to continue to build on that, get the right gentlemen in it, right young men, character guys, and just let's go play.
Yeah, let's play. I tell you what, special teams, it's been a good part of the program here the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
Whether it was Stone Wilson punting, Jose kicking, last year Tommy in the punting duties, and now you got a guy coming in, Chase Gabriel, who has great experience. What excites you, whether it's Chase or really anyone else in the program, about what you can do on that side of the football?
Well, the kicker is going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
The punter, he's averaging 43 yards a punt.
Yeah,
He's got 25 punts inside the 20-yard line. Makes my job easy with the directional kick in that way. The kicker, you got the young guy coming in as a freshman, got a live leg. The ball kicks off, pops off his foot. Me, myself, being a special team guy as a returner and a holder from high school to college, to my times playing in arena ball. And then, we got guys that we've worked with, kicking gurus that will send us guys.
Sure.
I was the first guy to get one of the Australian punters to come to LSU, so we got that connection. So, I'm gonna try to get the best talent.
Yeah.
And my job is, I'm a good player when I'm a good coach when I have good players, and we got some guys who will come in. Chase speaks for itself. I mean, all those touchbacks that he had, live foot, field goals for winning field goals, those type of things, and then our job is to get the right nucleus of players that can cover those kicks, block for those kicks, and return.
I love the poise you have in that answer, because, Coach, sometimes the phrase freshman kicker endears distress among a coach. But we're confident in Chase. He's made a lot of pressure kicks, and he'll bring a lot of competition to that kicker's room. And I'll tell you what, in terms of returning the football, hard time. Maurice Alexander gave a lot of teams problems over the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
And who knows who may assume that role, but we're talking a lot of the freshmen in this class. And Coach Davis mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. Maybe Jacorian Davis-Hamilton is a guy who assumes that role, but even if it's not him, you got athletes all over the football that could maybe assume that role.
Well, I mean, we're in South Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, athletes grow off the trees. They like the mangoes coming off the trees. And we're within a 50-mile radius. There's going to be 151 guys that sign Division I scholarships, and we'll be able to find that guy, whether it's JD coming in off an injury or one of the guys that we already have on campus. We'll find that guy, the best guy that can catch the ball, be poised, get that first down on punt returns, get average 25 to 30 yards on kickoff returns. We're going to find that guy.
Yeah.
I think we have him already on campus.
No doubt about it. No, you love the recruiting game, the recruiting
No
world.
doubt.
Yeah, got to get after it. A lot of fun. Glad to have you here, Coach DJ. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to FIU. Welcome to the 305.
305.
All right, back after this, we're going to talk to some of the players here very soon. All right, so we've been talking all morning, all afternoon now about the guys coming into this program. Why not talk to them, hear their thoughts, their insight about why they decided to be FIU Panthers and how excited they are to move forward here. So we got Xavier McGriff, Teddy Richardson, both coming to a Ricardo Silva Stadium near you very soon, making plays as wide receivers. Xavier, I want to start with you here first. One of the interviews you did right after you signed, you talked about that early connection with the wide receivers coach here, Aubrey Hill. You loved your visit. What stood out about FIU as a program? You were getting a lot of big-time offers, and it's exciting to have you here as a part of the FIU program. What stood out to you?
What stood out mainly was when I gained a great relationship with Coach Hill, he taught me more about the FIU program.
Yeah.
And more about like the football standpoint. He told me that like when Coach Butch Davis come in, been 3 years now, and we had a pretty good record. So I wanted to be a part of something that's growing and not something that's already established.
And the fact that your family, we can come see you play too. Just that short 4 or 5 hour drive down 95. I know that's a big part for you too. They can come see you play now.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, so Teddy, we talked about your time at Booker T. Anyone who helps lead Booker T to a state title, you want them on your college football team. And we were talking during the break. You know, the Dames twins, they were in your ear too a little bit when you were on campus here. So that's got to be pretty neat to be joining some former teammates.
Yeah, it's a couple guys, Hard Time, Jelly, all those guys constantly in my ear saying, it's a place to be. You can come make an impact right away because, there's 4 senior receivers here.
Yeah.
So you can make an impact right away. So
what do you feel is a part of your brand as a wide receiver? What do you pride yourself on, whether it's a skill set or a mentality? What do you take pride in as a wide receiver and try to emphasize in your game?
My hands. Make sure you're sure-handed. You want to catch everything that touch your hand. You make sure you want to catch it.
Yeah. Hey, how the first few weeks of classes been going? Getting used to stuff?
Yeah,
no 8 a.m.s, right?
No.
All right, good. You've done that right. Way to go. All right, Xavier, Teddy Richardson. We talk with more really quickly. Actually, let's bring up some highlights of our next guys. Come on in here. Actually, no, we'll take a 30-second break. We'll do the headset thing. We'll give him some time for that. We'll take a quick break. Be right back with 2 more. Back after this. we're talking to 6 of the early enrollees here on Panther Talk Live. Glad to have you with us. We got Maljan Jor, MJ, and then Cam Williams as well out of Humboldt, Texas. Guys, welcome to FIU. Pleasure to have you alongside us. Welcome to the program. MJ, we'll start with you. I mean, you made an impression in Mississippi JUCO football last year. Getting after on the offensive side of the football, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. What was the recruiting process like for you? Competing in JUCO, making a statement, getting to that championship game. What's the last year been like for you? You've accomplished a lot between getting to the D1 level and getting to that championship game.
We all, like my whole junior college team,
we
all already had our mind made up that we was going to win a national championship, and we just stuck with it the whole season, throughout the whole process, and we got the job done.
It was an impressive season for you guys at Mississippi Gulf Coast. Cam, you also come from JUCO, Trinity Valley over in Texas. And you talk about JUCO football, Mississippi, Texas, two of the best places to do that. What does it mean for you now to be able to transition from Trinity here to FIU, play for the position coach and Coach Rodriguez, who's experienced success and is now here at FIU, and of course playing for Butch Davis?
It means a lot. I'm very blessed to be here.
What stood out? What made you want to choose FIU?
The environment. Like when I came on my visit, very family-oriented.
Family-oriented.
Staff, everything.
And never a bad thing to be spending a couple of years in Miami as well. That doesn't hurt either. All right, appreciate you guys' time. We're excited to have you here. Some guys along the offensive line that are going to cause problems moving forward. So some folks on the defensive side. We'll be back after this, wrapping things up with the players here on Panther Talk Live. All right, welcome back to Panther Talk Live. Glad to have you with us on Facebook. AJ Ricketts, that's Miles Frazier, that's Jose Mirabal. We had a defective headset here, so Miles is going to start with it. Then I'll pass it off to Jose as we continue along. Miles Frazier, 6'5", 304, some size along the offensive line. You're coming down here from New Jersey. So, number one, I'm sure you're going to appreciate the weather a little bit more. Don't worry about winter. It doesn't get under 70 degrees. You'll appreciate that. You're a 3-star guy along the offensive line. A number of pretty good offers yourself. What stood out about playing down here, aside from the weather, aside from the Miami vibe, what stood out to you about playing for this coaching staff, being a part of the program?
Being a part of the program is very important to me. I felt as though there's an upside to this program, a positive upside. I can learn a lot from the older guys that are already here.
Yeah.
So I'm just ready to work for spring ball.
Yeah, spring ball coming up really soon, between spring practices, pro day, and of course the spring game. Only about 8 or so weeks till that all takes place. Yes. We'll have you transition the headset here to your guy Jose. Like the chain here, like the swag we're bringing. Jose, this offensive line has been very successful the last couple of years. And you look at the stats, the numbers, among the nation's leaders in sacks allowed. Not a lot of people have been getting to Alex Magoo or James Morgan the last couple of years. And that's got to be exciting to join an O-line, a unit with that standard, with that success, competing for playing time right away, but also plenty of vets to learn from. Just talk about that dynamic and being able to learn from a lot of vets and be part of a successful unit.
Well, coming in early has really helped a lot. Got to learn from a lot of the older guys.
Yeah.
As in Big Demery, 77.
Big Demery.
Yeah. He's like a big brother to me.
Yeah.
He's shown me a lot of the ropes since I've been here. Just being around the guys in the locker room has helped a lot.
And to stay home. Yeah. That's pretty awesome, too. I mean, maybe a 30-minute drive up the road from Homestead.
Yeah.
And I know Homestead's an awesome place. You got a Waffle House in the Homestead. I make my way there all the time. but to have your family able to come games, stay home. We've had South Dade success here recently with CJ. I know that means a lot to have your family be able to come to games too.
Yeah, it means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, they'll certainly be at Ricardo Silva each and every week here. It should be an exciting season at Ricardo Silva, guys. We appreciate the time. And I'll let you get back to the weight room or wherever it is you're going classes or wherever. You're staying busy here. All right, we'll talk with Coach Swayze here in just a moment. Well, it is a terrific pleasure to be joined alongside Andrew Swayze, the head strength and conditioning coach here at FIU. Coach, it's glad to have you in that role. I'll tell you what, I know NFL players will be in and out of that weight room with your background and history and experience with those guys, so that's exciting. But in terms of this class, we're celebrating them here today and really excited with what they can do. You know, what stands out when you look at the athletes and guys that are coming into the program?
No, I think, I mean, Ben, which helps, has been and working with Coach Davis before, and I know he has a tremendous eye for talent, and I'm just trying to make sure I get him in great condition and strong and ready to roll.
I know you love, the spring for a strength coach. You know, January rolling into February is a wonderful time of year. You've got plenty of time to implement your program, get the guys on a system, get them acclimated to your regimen. It's a fun time of year for you. All 12 months you're getting guys involved in the weight room, but I know this is a fun time of year for you guys to get them started on the programs they need to.
No, definitely. I mean, the most important thing is just getting them ready for the coaches. I'm excited about trying to get the coaches a platform and get these guys, to these guys in speed, power, strong, and physical.
What's most important this time of year for a freshman and an early enrollee freshman too? What's the emphasis to them?
I mean, the best thing is the preparatory phase. They're getting a chance to build a foundation prior to the season, so they got a little time. So they're starting in phase one.
Yeah,
we're getting them to put on as much mass as we can, get as strong as they can. So it's an exciting time for a young guy coming in early.
Yeah, a lot of young guys. Freshmen coming into the program, getting on their regimen, and coach is going to work with all of them. And coach, if you can give me a system here too, I'd appreciate that. Get me on a weight plan.
Yeah, phase one, don't miss it now.
Yeah, we used to be in the weight room down the road, so it's great to have you here, coach. Appreciate the time. Yes, sir. All right, we'll be back with Butch after this. Well, welcome back as we start to wrap things up here on Panther Talk Live. We appreciate all of you joining us on Facebook Live, as well as all those here in the GC joining us for our National Signing Day show. Always a lot of fun to chat here today on an exciting day for programs everywhere, and really excited here at the FIU football program. Some things to wrap up on and some spring notes as we move forward. But first, hey, 8 alums in all-star games for us. We talked about James Morgan, Sage Lewis, Stanley Thomas Oliver. We don't want to forget about, Maloney, Anthony Jones, Tier Tart, Ike Brown, Sage Lewis, Napoleon Maxwell. 8 Panthers in different all-star games all across the country, whether from here in Florida to, I think, the state of Hawaii. There's the Hula Bowl. But guys getting after it, showcasing hopefully an opportunity to join a roster moving forward.
You know what, AJ, it's a great compliment to them, because you don't get invited to those games unless you earn that compliment. The way in which you play, your character, your integrity. Obviously, one thing that's kind of cool about this senior class, there's 18 seniors, 94% of them have graduated. They got their diploma, which is obviously a huge, gigantic good thing. But it sets the stage for future years for guys to, they help bring recognition to the program. Hopefully they'll get an opportunity to play in the NFL the next couple of years.
Still going to be weird just to be walk the hallways of the football offices, not see those guys down. That's the cycle of college football. You develop those relationships, but they'll always be FIU Panthers, certainly no doubt about that. All right, so we've mentioned incoming freshmen, high school seniors that are becoming college freshmen or transfers or whatnot. But there's guys now that have sat their year that are going to be eligible moving forward or are coming back from injury and on different spots of the football. Look, I'm so excited for all the touchdown calls that are coming for J.J. Holloman, who's got his transfer year. He's eligible to play now. I'm sorry, eligible is what we're trying to think of. Bryce Singleton coming back from injury. They're going to be dynamic on the outside. Kane Taylor had a great finish to the season. You got Tyson Maeva, Malik Williams, all over the football. Guys that aren't just freshmen, they've proven themselves at the college level, and they're going to be eligible.
And one of the things you referenced Tyson Maeva, he was a 2-year starter at the middle linebacker for Boise. And Boise obviously has played in some January 1 bowl games, so he brings a tremendous amount of experience. He's smart. He's a football passionate player. J.J. Holloman obviously is a big-time, legitimate playmaker. Getting Bryce Singleton, off and on for the last 2 previous years, he was one of the most dependable receivers that we had. And unfortunately, he had the injury. He had the surgery, sit out for a year. You referenced Kane Taylor. Here's a young man who came as a walk-on, earned a scholarship back in August, and he didn't play him early in the season because he just joined the team and stuff. But the second half, he got a chance to play those last couple of games. The NCAA lets you play in 4 games.
They do.
So that was good. He got a little bit of game experience. So we're really excited about a lot of these guys to add to the program.
I mean, remember when Bryce Singleton at the end of his freshman year had that 3-touchdown game against UMass? We're hoping for more of those. And also want to reference, they did play last year, but for half the season, they weren't practicing in the roles, first team guys. Alexi Jean-Baptiste and Chris Whitaker. Sure. I mean, you talk about the impact they had in the second half of the season. I mean, they were making plays all over the field. I remember the one series, Alexi had all 3 tackles on all 3 downs and 2 sacks. I mean, they weren't playing at the level in practice because you didn't know they were going to be eligible, and they're going to have a whole season now.
Let me just tell you something, too. You just had Andrew Swayze on, new strength and conditioning coordinator. Our players are going to benefit enormously. His ability to change the speed and the athleticism of your skilled athletes into big and strong and power. Obviously, he worked for me at the University of Miami. Did a phenomenal job. How talented that he is. He's had dozens of NFL players that don't even play at any of those programs. They wanted to come back over the last couple of years to train with him because they knew what he could do for them. So it's a great, these freshmen that are coming in, the kids that are here now, they're going to benefit enormously from what they're going to get from him.
He's one of my strength coaches, and I can tell you, he gets after it. Excited. The players are absolutely going to love him. I mean, they're already in the weight room enjoying getting better. Spring ball coming up really soon. Going to start to see these guys out in action, out on the field. Spring showcase coming up April 3rd. Of course, open to everyone. Really excited for that. Always a fun event every year. Come down on the field after, talk to the players. Just have a good night over at Ricardo Silva Stadium. I know you're excited to get things started with spring football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, March the 16th, we'll have the very first day. And that very first week, the first 2 days will be in helmets and T-shirts and stuff. Then you'll work your way into shells and you'll get into pads. And so we sprinkle it out. We don't go back-to-back days. That way we can do video. They can, kind of rest a little bit and be ready to go the next day.
Yeah.
So that part will be super exciting. And obviously one of the other things that for FIU football fans, April the 1st is Pro Day.
Yeah.
So you'll see probably 12 of the 18 seniors will be there. Every 32 teams from the NFL will have coaches, general managers. A lot of the head coaches will come and see. So that's a really exciting day for the football program.
And that'll be a great chance to see all those guys that graduated back on campus at least one more time as they prep for the next stage of their careers. All right, we're wrapping things up. It's been a great show here on Panther Talk Live. A great day for the program. It's so exciting to see who's next. Who's going to be the next contributor? Who might contribute right away their freshman year? Or who might come out in a year or two after a redshirt campaign and contribute to the program? Coach, your final impressions. Congratulations again on another terrific class, and boy, we're looking forward to it.
Well, the one thing that I do want to say before we get off the air, all these recruits, these don't happen by accident. Our coaching staff did a phenomenal job. They started 18 months ago identifying a lot of these guys when they were juniors in high school and starting to track them, looking at their transcripts, looking at their films, getting them into camps over the summertime. And our coaches building a great relationship with these kids. You don't get high-profile, really talented, good football players unless they trust the environment that they're going to be in. The strength and conditioning program, the academic support program, and the assistant coaching program. Can you help me get to become the best player I can? And I'm very blessed to have these assistant coaches. They do a great job.
Terrific staff. 20 new Panthers have joined the blue and gold. Excited to see them moving forward. Coach, congratulations on another great class. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live as that concludes our coverage for National Signing Day here at the GC. Beautiful day at FIU. A terrific afternoon in Miami as we celebrate the 20 newest FIU Panthers. Spring ball, Pro Day, the spring showcase all around the corner, and of course opening night against Jacksonville State at Ricardo Silva can't come soon enough. For Butch Davis, I'm AJ Ricketts. We'll see you next time in the pit on Panther Talk Live. Make it a good week.